Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Look, the title of this video, I don't know. What this video is intended for, I don't know. But, this Kylian Mbappé news saga thing is back. And look, firstly, before we get into the news and saga, take every single news with a pinch of salt. Don't get too excited, especially if you're a Real Madrid fan, right? Don't get too excited about this news. That's number one. And number two, really, how do we know if Kylian Mbappé has changed his mind? We don't know what he's thinking, what he wants to do, what his future is going to be. So this just makes this news very, very complicated in the sense that what is going to happen. But basically, what happened during the course of the day, yesterday at least, was that Le Parisien came up with a news which you can see on screen, that Kylian Mbappé will be joining Real Madrid. Now, you have to be really, really careful because obviously Le Parisien are a Paris outlet, so this isn't a Madrid source. This isn't a source close to Real Madrid. In fact, this is a source close to PSG coming out with this news. So what does this mean, and why have they decided to let this information out now? Now, firstly, I would find it really, really, really difficult to see this as a fake news because they are, after all, a Parisian outlet reporting about probably all things PSG, really. So for them to make a fake news would be difficult to see. But again, it doesn't mean that the news is real. That just because it might not be fake doesn't mean it's real. Um, and what I mean by that is, okay, Mbappe might not be staying at PSG, but it doesn't mean he will be joining Real Madrid, in the sense that he's not confirmed that he's going to go to Real Madrid, or he hasn't signed any contracts yet. That is what this thing means, basically. So take it with a pinch of salt, as I said earlier on. But why is this coming out right now? Part of me thinks that they are trying to put pressure on Mbappe, really, to say, look, it's either you sign this contract right now or you go to Real Madrid, and we don't care. Okay, we don't want to lose you on a free, but even if we lose you on a free, at least this saga can end right now. Similarly, they could just be saying, look, we're gonna come out with these news, and you know that will force you and your entourage and your family to come out and say, look, that's not the case. He's gonna stay, and eventually you might just sign a new contract, maybe. But I don't think that Mbappe will be fooled by that, and I don't think that he will, really feel threatened by this story, because clearly it seems like every single window, every single few couple of months, a news about Mbappe to Real Madrid occurs. How many times have we had this news? Every single transfer window, we've had this. So what is different? Nothing has changed from 6 months ago, or a year ago, or 2 years ago. In fact, nothing has changed. So as much as this news is coming out right now about how Mbappe will join Real Madrid, or is going to join Real Madrid, nothing has changed, because we haven't heard anything from Mbappe, we haven't heard anything from Real Madrid, we haven't heard anything from PSG, but also we haven't heard anything from Fabrizio Romano or David Ornstein, you know, journalists who I believe are much more reliable than Le Parisien or AS or Marca. These outlets at times do just want to get the attention, and I'm not saying that this piece of news from Le Parisien is based 100% on wanting to get attention. I'm just saying that we don't know the full details of the story. We don't know whether that has been signed. If Fabrizio Romano came out and said, look, it's getting closer, and afterwards Le Parisien came out and said he has joined, there will be more credibility and more truth to the story. The problem is we have heard this before. We have heard this Mbappé is 100% joining Real Madrid, and it comes out that he has not, talked to Real Madrid, or even if he had, he did not agree to sign for Real Madrid. So I do not want to go through this again, and I think that is the same with all, Real Madrid fans. This came out from ESPN. Breaking: Kylian Mbappé has decided to join Real Madrid once his contract with PSG expires this summer. Sources confirmed to ESPN. Again, who are the sources? Are they related to the deal, or are they just journalists that, okay, might not be as reliable as Fabrizio Romano or David Ornstein? Who are these sources? And I know, ESPN can't publicly say these sources, but we don't know who those sources are. Are they close to Mbappe and his entourage? Are they close to PSG? Are they close to Real Madrid? Who knows? Or are they just some journalists who work for ESPN? Who knows? And lastly, this came out about just earlier, but this is what we've heard before, so it doesn't really make much of a difference. But it says Real Madrid and Kylian Mbappe are in constant contact to make the deal happen. The discussion is about the salary, potential contract, and more, and it's constant communication. PSG will wait and hope until the end, as nothing has been communicated to them by Fabrizio Romano. And we've heard this before, but what I found interesting was on Fabrizio's Twitter account, he reposted this literally just a couple of hours ago, of what Madrid Extra tweeted just a couple of days ago. In fact, Real Madrid are working very hard and very strong behind the scenes on Kylian Mbappe's deal. Real Madrid are on it. So nothing has changed. What have we learned in the last 6 months to 2 years? Real Madrid are working on it. Real Madrid are preparing, the contracts and documents. Kylian Mbappe, did tell PSG that he's not renewing his contract extension, and PSG are trying to convince Mbappe to sign a new contract extension with a much more improved salary. So this is what we have known for the last 6 months to 2 years. It's not new. It's not fresh news. The thing now is they're coming out with newer headlines that, oh, Mbappe is going to sign for Real Madrid, and then they're reusing these news again, so that Real Madrid fans will get excited, and obviously the attention is with these outlets. And until Fabrizio Romano comes out and says, here we go, Mbappe to Real Madrid in June or July of 2024, how are we going to get the credibility and the 100% clarity that it's happening? We can't, and that is the truth. Right now, nobody knows nobody knows what's happening, and outlets at ESPN and Le Parisien are coming out and saying it's happening. We don't know. PSG don't know. Mbappe doesn't know. Real Madrid doesn't know. So that is still really being discussed, and it's not like as if Mbappe won't sign. It's just that he hasn't signed anything yet, and if he has signed something, everyone would know. This is not a deal that people want to keep a secret about, because you can tell the deal right now, even though it has not happened, everyone is already talking about how he has already signed. Let alone when he actually signs, everyone will be talking about it. Fabrizio Romano, David Ornstein, The Athletic, everyone will be going in on the news. And then slowly Mario Cortegana and everyone will really, really start talking about it. But as of now, not everyone's talking about it. because not everybody knows about what the full details are, and the only ones who are talking about it are reusing the same details from 6 months ago and then coming up with a new story but using the same details again. So like I said from the start, take it with a pinch of salt. Don't react in a way that you're getting excited and then in a few months time when Mbappé sent a new contract at PSG you get upset, because the truth is 2 years ago everyone experienced that, and even me, I was part of the train that thought Mbappé is signing. Ever since then, I've always been much more adamant that this deal is not as um, easy as people like to make it. This deal is not um, as easily done as people like to make it, and that I think is the problem here, because I think people like to really really make it um, a big talking point, and I can get it. If you're working for these news company, that is your job. If you're working for ESPN and you want to make content and you want to get the attraction and attention from viewers around the whole world, you have to put these stories out. And I'm not saying putting fake stories out. They are real stories, but they are recycled stories. That is different. It's not new stories, it's not fake stories, it's recycled stories, right? But it's down to viewers and fans who view these news on how they take it. If you are a Real Madrid fan, how do you take the news? Do you take it as, oh, it's 100% happening and be naive? Or do you take it as, look, I'm going to wait for a Fabrizio Romano or a David Ornstein or someone that I know is reliable, or wait for the club's announcement to then let myself have a stronger feeling about that news. And that is down to the viewer. I don't think, like I said, there's anything wrong with these media companies, but it's down to the viewers, the fans, on how their perspective on the news is, and that is very important. But look, my stance on this has not changed. I've always said I do not want Mbappe to join for one reason, and that is not how he'll get into the team, because if he does sign, we will obviously talk about how he'll get into the team. But it's the fact that 2 years ago he could have signed and he stayed, and that wasn't his fault. That was PSG who rejected the deal. And then a year ago, I say a year ago, wasn't it 2022? Okay, about a year ago, he could have signed for Real Madrid on a free. He stayed at PSG. And then last summer, this news came back out again, and he didn't sign as well. So we are kind of getting sick of this. And part of it has to do with Mbappe, really. You have to say that, okay, he could have already been a Real Madrid player by this point if he had signed a free contract in 2022. But, of course, it's not entirely down to him. It's obviously PSG as well. So, let's see if this summer is going to be the final summer, because I do think that Real Madrid are now throwing the final kitchen sink at Mbappe and his entourage and his family and saying, look, now or never. Because if you don't sign now, you can stay at PSG for the rest of your life, because I don't see any other team having the financial and footballing abilities to attract him. I don't see Liverpool. I think they have the footballing abilities, but now that Jurgen Klopp has left, and they don't tend to sign these sort of players, on big wages. And Man City can afford it financially, but I just can't see them signing Mbappe and Haaland together, really. I think they are not that team. They're not a Galactico team. So if we're talking about Galactico signings, it's Real Madrid, really, because Bayern are not going to be able to afford it. No teams in Italy can afford it. And it's really Real Madrid or PSG. I can't see teams like Manchester United or Chelsea affording him with their financial situations. So it's Real Madrid or PSG, really, for Mbappe. And as a player, you want to win Champions Leagues, trophies, Ballon d'Ors. Of course, internationally, he can win World Cups and Euros. But at a club level, he wants to win these trophies, Champions Leagues, Ballon d'Ors. And he has to decide right now which will be better for him in the next 5 to 10 years of his career. Staying at PSG or going to Real Madrid. And I feel like it might be a time that he thinks it's better off going to Real Madrid. But like I said, we don't know if he thinks this way. So let's wait for the announcement if it does happen. And then we can obviously talk about it more. But it's a decision by Mbappé that he has to make and think carefully here. Because whatever he does, that is the final decision. He cannot drag this for another year. And that is simple. If he says I'm staying for one more year, that is it. No more takebacks as well. But let's see, how this deal progresses and where it goes. But I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. Hit the like button instead, subscribe to the channel on already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.